You should never worry when people talk bad about you. You should worry when people stop talking about you.
Was acting something that you really wanted to do, or was it something that, oh, I'm born into it, let me give it a go?
I definitely wanted to be part of movies. I was not sure whether I'm going to become an actor or a director or something. You know that there will be challenges. There is no line in the world whether you want to become a doctor, whether you want to become an actor. Gone through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hurdles. But the thing is, you have to have it in you to bounce back. And you have to believe in yourself. You should never look at the 3 people who are in front of you. There are 96 who are behind you also.
From my perspective, I think without self-belief, you have nothing. Because if you're not going to believe in yourself, then how can you expect someone else to?
Absolutely.
But often we don't recognize our own strengths and we don't know our own talents. And the good thing is that some people say is hard work beats talent. Do you agree? Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Millennial Mind. Before we get into this podcast, I want to tell you all about my weekly live Sunday workshops. A lot of people ask how I was able to quit the corporate rat race and do something that I love every single day, and that's by working on myself and doing so many different things to do with my self-development. So every Sunday, I host a workshop focusing on different topics, from manifesting to the law of attraction to goal setting to how I manage my time, and you can join too. There's a free trial. I'll leave the link in the comments, but for now, let's get into the episode. Sanjay.
Hi.
Welcome to Millennial Mind.
Thank you.
Thank you for choosing to spend some part of your holiday here with me today.
I'm looking forward.
So for people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I've been an actor for the last 30 years. My first film released in 1995. It's 2024 now. I started my career in 1990, actually.
Oh, wow.
But my first film took a long time. It took 5 years for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big story. But since from 92, I started signing a lot of films.
Mm-hmm.
So I was one of the newcomers who, in the first year itself, because I started Prem in 1990, then there was a movie called Kartavya, which I started in 1992. Then 93, I started Raja, Chupa Rustam, all these films which came, Bekabu, all these films which came after Prem. It looked as if I worked after Prem, but actually I was a raw newcomer in all these films because I was shooting for those films simultaneously. I was shooting for 5 films before my first release. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So in 95, when in May Prem released, in June Raja released, September I had Kartavya, and early 96 Jan I had Bekabu, and then Chupa Rustam.
Oh my God.
So so that's my start of my career.
So why acting? Were you born into a Bollywood family? Did you always want to be an actor? What kind of started your journey in acting?
Yeah, I'm very much born in this industry. My father's been a film producer.
Okay.
Since the time I was born, he was a film producer. He's no more. I lost my father 10 years back. We are 3 brothers and a sister. We all 3 brothers are in the movies. Boni is a film producer. Anil is an extremely successful actor. Now myself, now my nephews, nieces, they're all into movies. So whatever, we've given everything of a life to movies. Yeah. So the whole family's into movies. Yeah.
We spoke kind of off camera about, when you're starting a career, is it kind of your parents' career? Is it your career? Was acting something that you really wanted to do, or was it something that, oh, I'm born into it, let me give it a go?
No. Acting is not something which, because you're born somewhere, it has to come from your heart.
Yeah.
If it comes from your heart, nobody can push you to become an actor, because once you're in front of the camera, it's you, only you.
Yeah.
So it has to come. Obviously, when you're young, I was not sure. I definitely wanted to be part of movies. I was not sure whether I'm going to become an actor or a director or something. There was a time that I wanted to become an assistant director. I remember a movie called Sholay had released.
Oh, yeah.
One of the biggest hits of the film industry, Hindi film industry. And I loved the film as a kid. And I thought I want to become an assistant director to this man, Mr. Ramesh Sippy. So that was one of the things that I thought of doing. And then, I don't know, it was not that case somebody had to tell me, or one bright day I got up that I wanted to become an actor. But I think so it was there in me that I wanted to be in front of the camera. And I'm fortunate. Not everybody, everybody strives to get in this. India has a population of 1.4 billion people today. And I think so out of the 1.4 billion, I think so 1 billion want to be in front of the camera. So I think so we are very fortunate.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of hard work. And but I wanted to do my graduation. I just didn't, leave studies and started wanting to become an actor. I'd finished my graduation and then, yes, and then I went through the process of, joining an acting studio and then doing my diction, speeches, all the usual thing an actor requires to prepare himself. Yeah. So I went through all that. But the journey was 5 years. Not easy, but yeah, I was very patient.
Right.
Yeah, I was very, very patient. I understood there were a lot of people who kind of trying to brainwash me and that, your brothers are delaying your career. And you should look outside, you should sign something, why are you waiting? You're just wasting time and everything. But I knew nobody was doing it intentionally. It's sometimes it is just destiny, it just took a long time. And yet, yes, it took 5 years for my first film. Yeah. But then I had 4 releases in 95.
So you mentioned at the start you're balancing working on 5 movies at the same time.
At that time, yes.
And, like you said, now everyone works on one movie then goes to the next. So what were some of the other challenges when you're coming into Bollywood? Like you said, there's billions of people who live in India, or millions, and you're one of those people who chose to go into the film industry. Now, I've heard from a female perspective what a lot of those challenges are. What were some of the challenges for you? You mentioned tiredness and obviously working at this fast pace, but what were other challenges you faced?
See, any kind of a new job, whenever you start your career, there are going to be challenges.
Yeah.
So for me, those challenges were like I was prepared for it. So those were not like challenges as such, ke, wow, this is too tough or something. This, when you come in this line, you know that there will be challenges. There is no line in the world, whether you want to become a doctor, whether you want to become an actor, whether you wanted to become a lawyer, chartered accountant, there is life is full of challenges. Yeah. So that's not a negative thing. That's a positive thing. That keeps you on your toes. You have to work, keep on working. Like, in fact, as an actor, it gets even more harder when you're successful. Because to maintain yourself, today I've been in the line for 30 years. It's not that I've not gone through, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hurdles. But the thing is, you have to have it in you to bounce back. Yeah? And you have to believe in yourself. So till the time you believe in yourself, hits and flops will not matter because you know you're good, but the choice of films or the choice of shows have gone wrong. That's the reason probably I have always seen my glass as half full. There are 2 ways of looking at life. Okay, you could have achieved more, or you feel, bloody hell, I've achieved so much because if I've survived for 30 years, obviously I've achieved a lot. To be in front of the camera is something which I love doing. So I see my life like that. So challenges are there, but I think the challenges are very important in life to keep yourself on your toes. Yeah.
That's so powerful. I've never heard it in such a positive perspective.
Yeah, you have to. See, this line, you have to be positive. The minute if you think challenges, you take that as negative, that the work is too hard or something. You have to love it. You have to love your work. If you love your work, I think the challenges are there in every line. Yeah. Every line there is challenges. Here, the only difference when you're in movies, your highs and lows, even the audience knows. Even if I meet an outsider who doesn't know me for Adams, he knows whether I'm going through a high, whether I'm going through a low. If my last few films have run, my last few films have not run. They have not seen me in front of the camera. They ask me. Nowadays, because there's a lot of OTT, there is a lot of people who don't watch our OTT, especially in India.
Yes.
They keep on saying, Sanjay sir, आपको बहुत time से picture में देखा नहीं है. And my movie has just released in a OTT.
Yeah.
So that kind of a thing. But what has also happened with these streaming platforms, that all your old films are on a remote control now. So like earlier it was for singers कि गाने कभी भी पुराने नहीं होते हैं, आप सुनते रहते हो. आज फिल्में वो हो गई हैं. You can see a film anytime. You want to see My Sirf Tum, you just put it on Google and see which streaming platform it is in.
Yeah.
And you're there. And nowadays, what other thing is happening is your older songs, successful songs, are getting remixed.
Yes.
So even if you are sitting at home, suddenly you are in news because like about 5 years back it happened. A film I did, Sirf Tum, the Dilbar song was remixed and it came in a movie called Satyam Jayati,
yes,
which Nora did it. That song as a remix also became so successful, so automatically Sirf Tum got revived. The great Mr. Javed Akhtar used to say, destiny is one thing, like you are an actor, but you have nothing to do with music. But sometimes if your destiny is good, how it plays up that you get great music, you work with great talent, and everything actually is supporting you. Because a hit song has got nothing to do with my talent. But if I get a hit song, it's my destiny because somebody else is pushing me to success. Obviously, you have to have the talent, but I can have a good song. A lot of people are not so fortunate. Today, people talk about my Sirf Tum music or my Raja's music or something. So I've been very fortunate. In fact, way back in the 90s when I started, even before my first release, Mr. Ramesh Turani, and Mr. Kumar Turani, who own Tips, they came out with an audio cassette calling Hits of Sanjay Kapoor, without my first release also, because they had the rights of my few films. So yeah, so music plays a big part. And today, because of streaming platforms, even your movies, you don't die. You people. It's not like earlier के picture लगी और वो उतर गई theater से. अब when it is going to release or when will people get to see it or something. It's not a video or a DVD player now. It's there on your phone.
Yeah.
You could be sitting in a bus. You could be in a subway. You could be anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah.
You can just watch. It's an interesting time to be an actor.
For sure. You talk about self-belief and then you also mentioned hard work and talent. From my perspective, I think without self-belief, you have nothing, because if you're not going to believe in yourself, then how can you expect someone else to?
Absolutely.
But often we don't recognize our own strengths and we don't know our own talents. And the good thing is that some people say is hard work beats talent. Do you agree?
I think there's a mixture. You have to be hardworking. You cannot, talent or destiny. There are three things. I would say destiny too. There is hard work, and destiny and talent. It's a mixture of all these three things. Sometimes you may not be a great dancer. You may not be as graceful, but by sheer hard work, you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And finally, when the audience sees you, he's not seen that whether you have rehearsed for 3 days or 30 days or 40 days. It is your hard work. Finally, what is seen on screen or on a stage performance is what you do that day. So what kind of hard work you put, it depends on you. So sometimes you work harder for things which is probably not your USP. Like if you're not a great dancer or something, but if you are very hardworking, you can rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and some people are just born graceful. They have learned their skills and everything, but they have it in them. Yeah. Some people don't, but through sheer hard work they can. And then destiny is one thing which always plays a big part. I remember I was going through a phase where I got into film production because the kind of work that I was being offered, I was not happy with it. I was not happy, the kind of roles that I was being offered. I had done some good work, and I said, if I have to be in front of the camera, if I'm not going to be happy doing what I'm doing, I'd rather not do it. I will wait for that opportunity. But of course, I had to fend for my family, my children, my wife, myself. I had to work. So I got into film production.
Okay.
But I was still on my toes. It was not that I lost belief. I knew that opportunity will come.
Can I just ask, why did you not lose belief?
Because I knew that what I've done, people had accepted me. That's the reason those movies ran at that time.
Okay.
Sometimes it is like, I remember, for example, now that you asked me, a movie of mine which people talk even today. In fact, I'm getting credit for it today more than what I got when it released. A movie called Luck by Chance. I did it way back in 2009, and people loved what I did. But I did not sign anything after that. Why I didn't sign, even I don't know. I have got no idea. People were loving me. Directors were coming up and saying, I've loved your work. After 2 years, I've met a couple of directors who have come. I recently saw Luck by Chance. You were so good in it. And I remember John Travolta was going through a phase where I'm not comparing myself to John Travolta, but he's an icon. But he was a very, very successful actor during Saturday Night Fever, Grease and everything. He went through a phase where, you can't just keep on doing the same thing. And then Quentin Tarantino made a movie called Pulp Fiction with him. Things changed with him. People saw him as a different actor, not as that Saturday Night doing the songs and dance and everything. They said, oh God, he's a great actor too. and things changed with him. So one director came up to me that this is going to be a Pulp Fiction moment. Because I was going through a phase from 2003 to 2009. Things were not working the way I would have wanted. I was doing very fewer films. It's not that I didn't want to work, but I wasn't getting great offers. Then this happened. I'm saying this director is also saying it. Even he's not casting me. People kept on saying, you're so good in comedy. Why don't you do more comedy? I'm thinking, I'm an actor. If you think I'm so good, why aren't you casting me? It didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And then 2016, when I'm talking about destiny, I'm going to my club. I become a producer. I've made a movie called Tevar. I'd made a movie called It's My Life. I'm going to the gym because I'm still in shape. I'm still feeling as an actor. It's just I'm not in front of screen. And Dibakar Banerjee and his team was sitting at the club where I go to the gym. They were making a show called Love Stories. And Dibakar Banerjee was one of the directors. There was Karan Johar, there was Anurag Keshav, Dibakar and Zoya Akhtar.
Okay.
So Dibakar was casting for his short story. Yeah. And I crossed them, not even knowing. I don't know Dibakar I've never met him in my life. And they were thinking, and Dibakar said, the character's name was Salman. He's saying, we can cast him, that's Salman. He's good, I've seen his work. And I'm thinking, okay, if I had not come to the gym that day or something, maybe my name wouldn't have come up.
Wow.
And so that's destiny. I was at the right place at the right time. And then he approached me that evening, the casting director. I met Dibakar, and after 3 days, we were doing workshops. And after 6 days, I started shooting for Love Stories. And that was 2015 or 16. And then when the show released on Netflix, I think it's in 2017. And I have not looked back since that. So a 40-minute short story did for me what my career of 40 films didn't do. But I'm thinking if I had not gone to the gym, I don't know whether he would have casted me.
But destiny only works when you've got the work to back it up.
Of course.
So, you went to the gym that day and they casted you, but if they hadn't seen all of your work, then right place, right time analogy doesn't work, right?
Exactly. That's the reason I said there are three things.
Yes.
Hard work, talent.
Yes.
It's just not destiny. There were a lot of people who crossed the gym.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. But with all the talent, if at that moment I was not there with all the talent in the world, he wouldn't have probably thought. Maybe he would have.
Yeah.
But that's a maybe.
Yes.
But it did happen because he saw me there. So that's the reason I said it's just not talent. Sometimes it is destiny also.
For sure.
So it's a great mixture of all these things. But you cannot sit on your backside thinking, अगर मेरा तकदीर में होगा तो मैं star बनूंगा. You have to work towards it. And because I was still fit enough to play Salman, I was still going to the gym. It was not that अभी तो मैं producer हो गया हूँ. Relax करते हैं यार, उसमें क्या है?
Yeah.
I really don't have to be. But I never stopped thinking as an actor. When I say thinking as an actor, I always knew it is there, but I have to wait for the right opportunity. When it comes, and when it came, I grabbed it with both my hands.
I love that because the reason I brought that up is I think a lot of people now will start a business online or start an Instagram account or start a TikTok and just say, but I'm trying and my moment hasn't come because, it's not in my luck. But you never know when someone's going to notice you.
Of course.
You never know what video you post that this producer or this director or someone is going to notice.
You have to keep on trying. You have to keep on giving your best shot.
Yeah.
And it'll happen.
Yeah.
Nobody can take your talent away and nobody can, बोलते हैं तकदीर नहीं ले सकते किसी को होता है कि immediate success मिलती है, किसी को बीच में मिलती है, किसी को when you least expect मिलती है. But अगर आप में है, वो बात है, और if you have it in you, if you still have that passion, it will come. It may come immediately or it may take time, but it will come. So keep on trying. That's all I can say.
I love that. I want to talk about your childhood a little bit because from what you're telling me, you have amazing mental strength. You've just said you had 5 movies released. Okay, this director didn't come. Okay, you pushed for another director. You kept going. Okay, this movie didn't work out. Okay, now I'm going to be a director, but I'm still going to train as an actor. I'm not going to give up and I'm going to make sure that I get there in the end. It's just my path is changing. In order to do that at such a young age, especially in the world of Bollywood, where there's a lot of comparison, at that time there were a lot of tabloids, now there's social media, so some would say it's even worse. But in an age of comparison, when you have millions of people commenting, like you said, on what you're doing and what's going well and what's not going well, how did you have that mental resilience? Was that instilled in you as a child?
you as a person, nobody can put that thing in you. Nobody can, through schooling or college, it doesn't happen. It has, that's the reason if there are 50 in at least in, now it's changed. But when I was in school, there used to be 50, 52 students in one class. Now there are
Wow.
15, 18, 20. But those days there were 50, 52. The same teachers teaching. You're reading the same book. You're attending the same classes. But few are brilliant and few are not. Education is very, very important. But what you grasp out of it from education, through your personal experience, through noticing things, through observing things, that all depends on you. So this thing, I don't know. Nobody has taught me. I am a patient guy, and I'm not a bitter guy. When I went through this phase, also, I was not bitter about it. I was very, very positive.
Why?
Like I said, I see my glass as half full. So when I did 30 films or 40 films, and when then things didn't work out or anything, I knew that I have done so many films is because it's just not that I came in one film, it ran, and then two films didn't run, and people disappear.
Right.
People just disappear. There are so many people. I don't want to take names.
Yes.
But there are, if you look back from the biggest stars, children, or the biggest launches, they've done one, two films, and they've just vanished. If I take few names today, whoever is watching this podcast would not even know. And they were like superstars, children, and they just disappeared. It is just not of the launch or something. You have to, like, I knew I have it in him. I don't know. I'm not boasting or something, because I
No.
went through a phase where things were not happening, but I didn't give up. Why I didn't give up, it's very tough to say. Why I didn't give up.
Because a lot of people struggle with that. And a lot of people will think, well, how do I actually overcome that? I've tried this business,
In fact,
I've
for
tried
me,
this industry.
Coming back, sorry, I'm cutting you,
No,
but
no.
in fact, for me, it was even more difficult. The reason means I had a very, very successful
Initial
brother
start. Okay.
who's a very successful actor. So there was a lot of comparison. And Anil and me look a lot alike. So I had to fight that too.
Is he older?
He's much older than me, and when I started my career, he was one of the most successful. He's still very successful. At that time, he was doing main leads and everything. He was extremely successful. So my first picture was compared to his last film. So the comparison was there, and so it was even more tougher. But I was prepared for that. I was not. It didn't come as a surprise, when this thing happened. See, sometimes when they say, okay, whatever career, education, why is it important? I think so. Education did play a part in that, because your mind develops. You have sat with, you have spent time with different kind of kids. You have studied. I think so. That's education. Somewhere when the parents tell their children to, it's not that a 10th fail person cannot be successful, but those are exceptions. But when you do your education and everything, whatever career, even if for films they say, you could be a 6th fail and you can be a superstar.
Yeah.
There have been cases, but those are exceptional cases. But when you are educated and everything, when you go through this kind of a phase, you are more ready to fight it out.
Right.
I didn't get carried away. I didn't get into alcohol or drugism or, going crazy, because I had made enough money where I could have gone crazy. But that education also helped me. Like, when you say, okay, what makes you think that
Yes.
you believe in everything? Maybe that I was mature, I was educated, I could see life in a different perspective. It was just not, the fame and glamour about it.
Yeah.
It was a job for me. And I knew I know my job. So when you know your job, and if you're patient, you have to keep on trying. And that's all I can say. If it does happen. It's happened with me, so it can happen with anybody else.
So Anil's your older brother.
Yes.
And then is Bobby younger or older?
Bonnie is the
Bonnie,
oldest.
sorry.
He's a film
Oh,
producer.
he's the oldest. Okay,
He's the
then it's
oldest.
Anil, then it's you.
Then it's my sister Reena. She's not into movies. She's
Okay.
married in Delhi to Sandeep Marwa. He owns a studio. He's also in media, but nothing to do with movies and everything. And then I'm the youngest.
So as children by your parents, were you always compared to your older brothers?
No.
How interesting. So you weren't compared as children, but then you go into the same role and you're compared against
Yes.
both of them, or just Anil?
Just Anil. Because we were doing the same kind of, we were both actors. And so automatically, and when I started, he was at his peak of his career.
Right.
He was at his peak. So, he had some great films by then released and everything. So obviously there was a comparison. Then he had just 2 years back did a movie called Lamhe, where now I was stubble. That time when I started off, I was clean shaven. For Lamhe, Anil always had a stubble. He had clean shaven. So we looked even more similar at that
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So I knew at that time, like the hurdles also was, I knew stubble suits me more because the way our features and everything is, it just gives a little more character to our face. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because Anil was doing it and I had to look different from him, I never kept a beard at that time because otherwise the comparisons would have been more. I knew it would have been better for me, but because I wanted to break that thing of
Wow.
not knowing as his younger brother, I chose not to keep a stubble till a very long time. And I would only say that much later in my career, when I went through that hurdle and everything, then it didn't matter because it's not that people have stopped saying it now. But that is because we are brothers, we look
Yes.
alike, it's a natural thing.
Of
यार.
course.
Now people say, I said, हमारे माँ बाप एक ही हैं तो हम एक जैसे ही दिखेंगे.
Yeah,
मैं किसी
exactly.
और की तरह तो दिख नहीं सकता. So, yeah. So much later in life, because today it's different.
Yes.
Today, we are still brothers. We are still doing a thing, but the comparisons slowly, it happens with everybody. It just dies down. It just dies down.
Comparison with siblings, I think, is very normal. It happens with every sibling.
It happens a little more in movies, though.
I was just going to say, but did that impact your relationship with him?
Not at all.
Really?
Because he's not doing it. It got nothing to do with him.
That's so interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to say, is that your parents must have given you some kind of like inner strength, because the mindset of, I don't care what everyone else is saying. I know my brothers aren't trying to delay my movies. I don't care what everyone else is saying. I'm not comparing myself to my brother, and I'm not going to let your horrible comments impact our relationship. If we take that out of the movie industry, if you watch, I guess, all these Indian series, where they say other people's opinions can actually impact your relationships at home. So let's say, for example, I put out something around my relationship with my family on Instagram. Their comments could sometimes impact my relationship with my family. And a lot of people struggle with the outside noise creeping in and ruining their relationships, even if it's got nothing to do with what that person has said. Does that make sense?
No, it does. But I think so. This is where I think so the parents come in the picture.
Yeah.
The way the parents brought us up, there was no difference in them. For them, every child was as important. It never, we don't discuss a lot of, we stayed together for the longest. Only when Boni and Anil got married, did they shift out.
Right.
We left, we lived together, and we were living in a 2-bedroom hall when we started off. When Boni and Anil started their careers, we were still in that 2-bedroom hall. So we were all living together, and slowly, it was much later that Anil shifted out and Boni shifted out, but we were all living together. But yes, I think so. It depends on the upbringing of the
Yes.
parents. We are a very close-knit family. Obviously, then you have your own children, everything. It's not necessarily when you say you're close-knit that you have to be with each other every day of your life. There are times when I don't meet Anil or Boni maybe for a month or month and a half also. But when we meet, it's not that we hug each other or something. We are not a very physical family. Oh yeah, it's not like that. But we respect each other. We love each other. And we are intelligent enough to know that this is part of movie making. At least it's happened in our family that it doesn't matter. Today I have nieces, nephews, they are going through their highs, they're going through their lows.
Awesome.
But our relation is not changing according to the Friday of the movie releases of Arjun or Sonam or Janvi or whoever.
Yeah.
So it depends on family to family. I think so. I would give credit to my parents because the way they brought us up, and that's the reason we are bringing up our children in a different way. Underline this thing. I remember a very close friend of mine, I don't want to generalize it, they are Sindhis, and he was talking to his parents, and sometimes the language also makes a big difference, the way you talk and everything. And he was, the way he was talking to his parent, when I was there, I was not too happy, the way he was talking to them. And his son was there who was 5-6 years old. I said, see, the way you are behaving with your parent today, your child is seeing that. Your child is going to behave the same way with you.
100%.
If you are not going to, I know you respect your parents, but don't take They are your parents, you know. You have to have, they may be wrong, but they're still your parents. They've given everything for you. And if you want the same love from your child, start changing your tone and attitude towards your parents, because the child will speak to you and then you'll realize okay, what your parents went through.
So true.
So our parents brought us up in a way that so all these things never mattered.
That's why I asked around the comparison at home, because often if you're compared so much as a child, there's a lot of resentment and there's always a feeling of I'm not enough. And what you said at the start is you've had a lot of self-belief, there's been no competition, and you haven't allowed others to impact your relationship.
See, the competition, I'm not saying there's no competition. Competition is there.
Yes,
It's
in a healthy way.
Also, I think it's a person-to-person thing. I think so, even though Anil is more successful than me, I always feel that I am more happier and content than him.
Wow.
For whatever reason. I'm saying God is kind. Because even if what I'm trying to say is even I've achieved lesser than him, but I just feel that I'm much more happier. I'm always in a better mood. I'm not saying he's sad or anything, but I don't know how to put it, but I feel I'm more content than him.
Have you had that conversation with him?
I think so. I don't have to have a conversation. I think so. He
know.
knows it because, what I've gone through, he has not gone through that. But still, the way I'm so positive and everything, he's intelligent enough to understand that. And this is what I'm ready to openly say that.
I think you're super positive. That's why I'm like, wait, how did you do this? Can you teach me? Because a lot of the time with success, you're always chasing it. And I think that's why you marry it to the contentment, right?
Yeah.
If you're always chasing after the next big thing and the next big thing, when do you have time to be happy?
Exactly. I think so, not being philosophical, but I think so post-COVID, a lot of people are living their lives a little more. In India, a lot of people don't enjoy life. They save. They save for that rainy day. And then life nearly gets over and you've just saved.
For what?
And you've not enjoyed your life. But now things are changing. Also, world has become such a small place that people know that there's so much to do. I'm not saying blow your mind, but you have to live your life, you shouldn't be an extreme. You have to think of the future also. But you only cannot think of the future and not live the present.
Yeah.
You have to draw a line, but you have to live your life. You have to enjoy life. And I used to see that internationally more. A bit too much. I used to hear this, people over here, they work for 5 days on the weekend, they spend it all. And
true, actually.
that's why they resent Indians, because they, suddenly the same person who's working in the same job, suddenly after 3 years, he's driving a Mercedes and the other person is not, because he saved it.
Yeah.
And the other person has burnt it out or spent it all.
Yes.
So you have to draw a great line.
Of course.
You have to live your life, but you have to draw a line. But
Yeah.
you cannot only keep on, everybody is different, but this is my viewpoint. So I think, so that's why maybe I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm doing what I love. I'm grateful that I'm back since 6-7 years. I've got great opportunities to work with some great directors, great talent. So I'm grateful, and that's the reason I'm always happy. It's not that I've not gone through my share of lows, but it's been little.
It's been very
Yeah,
fun.
maybe other person would have handled it differently, but I didn't take it too seriously. I didn't. That's the reason my personality has been like that. Even okay, when you're not very successful yet people are hanging around with you, it's your personality. It's not your bank balance. Sometimes people are around people because of their success and their bank balance. Sometimes people are around you because of the personality. With me was the personality.
I just really love your honesty. You've mentioned 3 times to me, my brother is more successful than me. I'm not that successful. It's not my bank balance. You've mentioned those things. A lot of men would struggle to say that. You're so vulnerable.
I don't know why you would struggle to say that.
Because of ego.
By saying that, and I think so the other person knows when you don't say it. If I tell you that, I've achieved a lot and I've just... You'd be still laughing, and after this podcast, you say, "What a moron!" It's nothing is hidden in life. A life of an actor is open. The more you hide, the more you are going to feel frustrated. The more you will feel, when I walk out over here, I said, "Shit! I hope she didn't see through me."
Wow.
So you have to be honest. Only then you can be positive. Yeah. And I say when I'm saying he's more, but I'm successful too.
Of course.
That's the reason I'm in front of you. Why would you interview me
Exactly.
otherwise?
No, but what I mean is, a lot of people want to. I find
See,
this
success is one thing. There is no end to success.
so true.
There are. My father told me one thing. You should never look at the three people who are in front of you. There are 96 who are behind you also. And in the 96, there could be 90 people who are more talented than you, but they've not got that opportunity. So you should enjoy that thing where you are in, because don't look at those only 3 to 4 people who are ahead of you. There are a lot of other people who are behind you also. So you should be grateful ke where you are.
So true.
So that's probably I am that the way I am.
Wow.
I'm grateful.
I think I'm going to hire you as my guru. Every time I'm struggling, I'm going to be like, hello, hi, yeah, can you please tell me some philosophical advice on how I can overcome this situation?
No, it's not advice. It's just that's the way you have to, I've lived my life. Yeah.
That's a really strong mindset, which I think a lot of people don't have now. But I want to talk about Maheep.
Yeah, sure.
When did you get married? When did you meet? How did that happen?
We met way back in 1993.
That's when I was
There
born.
was a bloody long time. Yeah, 31 years back.
Okay,
And,
don't out my age.
So we met in 1993. It was the premiere of Roop Ki Rani Choron Ka Raja
Okay.
happening in Delhi, and she gate crashed the party.
Right.
Okay, she gate crashed the party, and we met, and a hot girl, and there were a lot of people who was suddenly this hot young 21-year-old girl had just walked in. She was 20, not even 21 that time. So yeah, again I noticed her and everything, but I was busy doing my own things, and we chatted, and obviously a lot of people was trying to chat with her and everything, but we hit off, and it was not that we started dating each other. She was living in Delhi. She used to live in Australia that time. She was there for a holiday. Yeah, one thing led to the other. She was thinking of settling in India. She said, I'm coming into Mumbai.
Yeah.
And we hit off, and it was going to be probably just a Delhi date, or maybe in Bombay, she's there for 2 months. But we saw each other for 5 years, which was supposed to be like, I would not say a one night stand, but it was supposed to be a casual,
Yes.
casual thing. It was not, because we met, she gate crashed and everything. I met in Delhi. She would have gone back to Australia, or she said she's coming to Mumbai. I said, okay,
Right. Yeah,
kya
we'll
pata,
see.
aayegi, nahi aayegi, kya pata. And she did come. And then also I thought, how long? And and then we started seeing each other. And then over the period of time, we got serious. And then we finally got married in 1998, December.
Okay.
So we saw each other for 5 years. And now we have 2 kids. We just had our Silver Jubilee anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, this
That's
December
crazy.
we had the Silver Jubilee anniversary. Yeah.
Were you ever forced in terms of you have to have an arranged marriage, or was marriage a big thing for you? Was it told upon you like you must get married, or no?
No.
How interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember in our house there was anything of okay, you have to get married or something. Fortunately, my sister got married pretty young. Maybe if she had not got married at a young age,
Yes.
maybe that now it's changed, but at that time, 35 years back, the pressure that the girl is yet not married. And now when I look back, my sister got married when she was 22 or 23 years. And I remember there's a very dear friend of mine who used to live in Chembur in Maitri Park opposite my house. His sisters were 25, 26. And I used to hear murmurs, ke 25, 26 saal ki hogi, the marriage, what the parents must be going through. Girls are not married yet.
Yeah.
And now, people are getting married at 30, 31, 32. Times have changed. Yeah. So at my house, it was never that, my parents knew I was seeing her. It was not,
Yeah.
you sure you want to get married to her? And she was accepted the day she started seeing me. Whether I got married to her or I didn't get married to her, that was my choice. It was never,
Right.
there was no pressure that I
Yes.
should. There was no pressure that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And when I decided that we are going to get married, we got married. Yeah.
So when you got married to Maheep, she hasn't come from a Bollywood family, right?
Yeah.
And then she's coming to a family where all of you are basically stars in Bollywood. How did she manage that? And how did you kind of work your films, manage the newly life?
See, because we were seeing each other for 5 years,
Right.
that helped. So it was not that I met her and suddenly she came in this line. By the time her friend circle was also part of the movies because I was in movies. So it got connected like that. So when we did get married, it was not that she was getting married suddenly to a film family or such or whatever.
Right.
So by then she was used to my parents. She knew my brothers. All her friends were part of movies.
Yeah.
So it was not, it's a new world for her.
Yes.
So it gradually happened with her. We were seeing each other for such a long time, and my first film release in 1995, and that, so slowly, it was a gradual thing. Very, very organically, she got into it. So when we did get married, I remember once, a funny thing was in 90, she had shifted to Bombay. She was staying as a PG.
Right.
And we get married in 1998, and, शादी हो गई, लीला में शादी हो रही है, वो हो गई, अब बारात हो गई, मतलब हुआ. अब वो विदाई हो रही है. अब जब विदाई हो रही है, so her parents started, and I have this sense of humor. They started crying.
Right.
I told her mother, I said, Auntie, आप रो क्यों रहे हो? From PG to she's going to a house. She's either way living in Bombay. आप लोग तो दिल्ली रहते हो, तो इसमें रोने की क्या बात है? आपके कौन से घर से जा रही है वो?
Did they find that funny?
Later on.
Not at the time.
I think so that the thought is that the daughter is getting married, that she is now. There's the thought, but my thing was a very practical thing. She's as it is living in Bombay. She's lived in Switzerland before that. She's hardly stayed with y'all. So why are you crying? I said, if you want, I said, by mistake, don't take her to the PG house, okay? She's married. She can officially shift to my house, yeah.
But I think there was a concept back then when you gave your daughter away, you were almost giving her away in terms of her freedom and her flexibility and her ability to see you and, call you. And I think that was a very traditional perspective. Like, now you are controlled by the man.
I
don't think so now.
Maybe not even then. See, it depends on, because Maheep, again, her parents, they are beautiful, lovely people. And they have lived their life abroad. So it's all about thinking.
Yes.
He's a chartered accountant, uncle. He's been a chartered, he's no more, he's retired now. So it's the way, that's the reason they were living on their own for a long time in Perth. They were in Kuwait, she was studying in Switzerland. So she has lived her life like that.
Yeah.
So it was not like they are, obviously that's the reason my sperm was crying, but they are very practical. They're very like today's parents, I would say, way back also that time. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Shania's wedding when you cry and someone says the same thing to you. You'll be like, okay.
But she's living with me. Yeah.
Yeah, but she won't forever. How old is she?
No, but the thing is, suppose if she is living as a PG, I was trying to joke with her. She's either way or not. If Shania is not living with me, I will cry, obviously.
Obviously.
But when it's like she's living abroad, hypothetically.
Yes.
And I'm living in India, and the day she gets married, so she's shifting from one house to the other. She's still abroad. So that was my reason.
I promise you, if Shania comes to live in the UK or live somewhere else, and she's not living with you, you will cry, and I'm going to call you that day and tell you, and Maheep's going to remind you too.
Of course. She's still living with us.
Joking.
So I hope she keeps on till the time she gets married. She lives with us only. Yeah.
Do you actually think that? Do you actually hope that, genuinely?
I'm very open.
Okay.
I'm very open because she's in this line. So it was not that she came to, a lot of kids, they study abroad and everything. With Shania didn't happen. And when a lot of people were going for training, she's becoming an actor. A lot of people for training also were going to New York or LA. She didn't want to go. She felt it's too much of waste of time because finally you are only doing classes for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
For a few hours, rest of the time you are just socializing and partying over there. I rather put that time over here in my classes and, I could work for more hours in India that I would put in if I was abroad.
Yeah.
So she never wanted to go. It was her decision.
Right.
That she didn't want to go. So far, both my kids, we've never had that thing where they've always been with us.
Yes.
It's not been that Jahan is, he's too young. It's his time now to venture out and everything. So Shania never went either for studies or for her acting courses abroad or something. So we've never had that thing. So now even if she goes for 3 days, for a holiday also for a week, so the house feels very empty. It does feel empty. Yeah.
No, of course. Well, I moved out, actually. My dad is sitting right there, so it's a bit awkward for me to talk about it. But I moved out because I do think that it's important to move out before you get married. And my reason was, so many of us go from our father's home to our husband's home. And when do we get that time just to be ourselves?
True.
And it's very difficult when, you know, you have a lot of responsibility as well. And what I wanted was to have a year of my life where I had no responsibility. I didn't have to think about anyone else, and I could just focus. And actually, it has given me so much joy. And that doesn't mean
So
I
did
love
you have
my...
a Dilwale moment? That
a little bit. But it doesn't mean I love my parents any less. And it doesn't mean, you know, my whole ethos is I don't think you should rush to get married. You know, and people think I'm anti-marriage. I'm engaged. But, you know, I'm not anti-marriage. I'm just not, you shouldn't marry someone for the hell of it, and you shouldn't rush to get married.
Yeah, like no longer is like that. I am at that age to get married.
Exactly. Exactly.
Either you want to be married or you don't want to be married.
Exactly.
There is nothing, luckily, you know, every year it's becoming like that. You have to be mentally, I want to get married.
Correct.
Yeah, it's not my age is to get married.
Yes, and I think you have to be at the right moment in your life to get married. Now, I will say, you know, if you want to have kids, you have to think about time and all of things. You have to be realistic. But I think that, you know, for me, I think it's been the most important thing that I've done in my life is to move out, because when will I ever get this time again?
True. Yeah. So you know, Shania is.
I'm like forcing you to be like, make sure she moves out.
No. See, now I have few, you know, like recently in my family, Harsh has moved out.
Right.
Anil's son.
Right.
They're living in a big house and everything. But he just wanted to be independent and just be on his own.
Yes.
The first, when you hear about it, you feel कि what is the need?
Yes.
इतना बड़ा घर है जाने की क्या जरूरत है?
Exactly.
Okay. Tomorrow when she feels she needs a little more space or something, it's her choice. So we will always, you know, feel bad when it comes, you know, that moment comes. But it's not that she will be stopped or she will be made to feel guilty about it. Why are you taking such a step?
Yes, exactly.
Today's time, you cannot stop anybody, but you can still make that other person feel guilty. Kya zarurat hai jane?
Yeah, exactly.
So that will not happen. If tomorrow she feels she needs more space or something, it's okay. It's okay. I have friends whose daughters now have, you know, what they do is in India is the thing of apartments. So maybe they try and get an apartment in the same building. So you feel okay, the daughter is still there.
Yeah. But it's interesting because so many of us say, you know, you'll save money if you stay at home. You know, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't have to worry about anything. But what you don't realize that you're missing out on is the confidence, the self-assurance, and the ability to figure it out. Because you have to figure it out if you move out. And so what you're gaining is a significant amount of knowledge in which you'd be sheltered if you're at home.
No, I totally agree. Now, Jahan, my son, he's 18 now.
Yeah.
And he wants to also get into movies, and he's slowly training for it and everything. I have not sent him abroad at this moment because I feel girls mature much faster. At this stage, for him to go, I feel he'll learn nothing.
Yes.
But I'm 100% sure that even I want to also send him abroad because what you talk about independence, I want him to live alone for a year.
Yes.
You know, so that he becomes independent. That's very, very important. You know, everybody's personality is also different. And like I said, girls mature much faster and everything. So it's a different thing. So I totally agree. You know, you have to be on your own till the time you're not in your own. Like we were recently in New York, and you know there were places where Jahan couldn't come because you know we are going to Maheep and me were going to a bar. I told him that you know the hotels. You know today's Google Map. You're very lucky.
Yeah.
When I came to New York about 1,000 years back, there was no Google Map. You know people had told me, "Ye streets hai, ye avenues hai," and we managed. Today, everything is there on the phone. You can just Google and reach anywhere. I said, just go.
Yeah.
Make a mistake. Just go out. At the end of the day, you will find your way. Till the time you don't make a mistake, you know, just do it on your own. Just go anywhere. Just go to any restaurant, even if it's not any. Just sit somewhere and just get lost and come back. You know, that's slowly. That's how independence will come.
Yeah, because it must be hard for you because you said you didn't grow up with wealth, right?
No, we were
in
all
a two bedroom. But your children have had a different experience.
Exactly, yeah.
How have you managed your style of parenting for that? Because
at the end of the day, when they were growing up and everything, we didn't give anything to them in a platter, in the sense that we didn't deprive them of anything.
Yes.
When we were growing up, our parents were, I feel, gave us more than they could afford. Like we were, for example, all the children went abroad before my parents did.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So they, even though we were staying in a two-bedroom thing, the kind of food we had, the kind of living we had, it was, I think so, the atmosphere in the house was that nothing is missing. So we never felt, and we were very close to, I was very close to the Raj Kapoor family, for example,
Okay.
who's the most iconic person who was living in a bungalow. And my friend, I was very, very close to Chimpu. He's no more, unfortunately. He had his own car, he had his own driver. He used to go abroad every day, every year. And I never used to get a chance to go abroad at that time. And I still remember those days were, as kids, there were Batman cars, and, he used to get for me. And I used to feel, okay, one day even I'll go abroad. And I went abroad for the first time after my graduation. I was 21 or 22, and I was with a circle like Chimpu, for example. He was Raj Kapoor's son, who had a car, who was going abroad like as if it's next door. Those days was to go abroad was a very, very big deal.
Yes.
Much bigger than what it is now and everything. But the way our parents bought us, we were not complexed. We never felt anything. Our confidence level of we three brothers was as if we are as good. They may have more, but our confidence level was unbelievable then.
Wow.
And I went through then a phase where we used to go to Delhi, and he was sitting in business class as a 15-year-old boy or a 14-year-old boy, and I was sitting in economy. But the confidence levels didn't change.
Right.
It didn't matter.
You didn't let it impact you.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Yeah. And I think so that's the reason our family were so respected. My father never gave blockbuster hits. He never gave hits. But he was the most respected person in the industry. Yeah. I remember in 10th standard, I wanted to, because, when I said they were all going this, so I said, I want to. He said, okay, if you get first class in your 10th standard, I'll send you abroad. I said, okay. And not only because of that, but that was also one of the reasons. I did get a first class. And then I told my dad, my passport was made and everything. I've got first class. And then his movie released. And the movie flopped. He couldn't afford to send me abroad and everything. So he said, it's not that I can't send you abroad. I owe money to people. Today, if I send you abroad, people say, Mr. Surinder Kapoor doesn't have money to give the money he owes, and he has money to send his child abroad.
Yes.
I understood that. I didn't crib. I didn't sulk. I understood that. The intention is there. Timing is not there. So I guess we were brought up very strongly. And that's the reason, like when you say that, you talk so openly or anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Today we have all the brothers. We've got our houses. We've got cars. We were living in a 2-bedroom hall. So I think so, yeah. So we've achieved a lot.
So much.
Yes.
And it seems like it's growing, because now Maheep, who wasn't in any part of the Bollywood industry, is now part of Bollywood Wives.
Yes.
Which is
and
crazy.
It's such a successful show.
Huge success. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it happened. They were on in a plane with Karan. They were actually going. A person who was not well or something. They were going for a chauta, and Karan organized a private jet because they had to suddenly go and everything. They all went together.
Right.
And while coming back, it was expected the person was not well or something.
Yeah.
But you still go, and it's a moment. You go to pay your respects and everything. So they went. So all the girls were there. Karan was there, and the flight. In the 2-hour flight from Delhi to Mumbai, he was talking, and Karan cracks his own jokes, and he can say anything under the sun. You have to be always ready with him. And he spoke about this concept. He said, I have this, and I'm going to take, all 4 of you all. And Maheep came back home, paranoid, absolutely. I said, what happened? She said, Karan wants to do this show. I said, don't take him seriously. I said, are you mad? I said, we'll talk about it. He said, no, he was sounding very serious and everything. I said, yeah, please now, Karan, he said, I'm not going to, everybody laugh at me. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I said, we'll discuss this later. And then to cut it short, it did happen. Then it reached a point where it became a serious conversation. And obviously she was very, very unsure of doing it. So the only thing I told her, see, Netflix is involved, Karan is involved, Dharmatics is involved. So they will not do anything which is shady or which is,
Yes.
you can trust. At least you are in good hands.
Yes.
Okay, and it's coming on Netflix also, and Karan is producing it and everything. So it will have a certain amount of, dignity and everything. And today, at this stage of your life, when the kids have grown up and everything, you'll have something you look forward to also.
Yes.
Okay, it's an interesting thing. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? I said, well, the show will not do well. Nobody is expecting that you all are going to be some great actors or something. Just do it. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Just try.
Either it doesn't work, and if it works, the only positive can come out of it. To cut it short, it did happen like that, and finally they started shooting and everything, and we were all part of it
Yeah, I saw.
as husbands, and we shot for it. And when I saw the parts of the show, in fact, I still remember Shania was invited to be in Paris for the La Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we decided, okay, why not make this, Netflix shot that also. And the show was spectacular. And I was in a shock the way the girls, the way they were comfortable. It's not easy. And especially to, act is tough, but to be yourself in front of the camera, it's even more tougher. But they were, that's the reason the show was such a success. Today they're coming out with season 3.
It's crazy.
I think so by October or something, season 3 will be out. And today I was out for lunch, and then this family came up to Maheep to click a picture. And then I was walking away. They said, sir, aap bhi aa jao. Mujhe laga shayad only with Maheep they want to click a picture.
So funny.
So yeah, so when I was coming over here when COVID was happening, but because of my work, I was still traveling.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who came up to me and spoke about me in Bollywood Wife and Maheep in
Yes.
Bollywood Wives. And I used to get shocked. I said, what a success story this is.
Crazy.
They are talking about, okay, we love her and, this and that. It's unbelievable. And today, it's great. They're enjoying the success.
Yeah.
They're making good money. She's here right now. She's going to Sydney after she goes back for an event. And suddenly, it's a great thing. So you should always, when you get an opportunity, you should go for it. You don't know how it will change your life.
So true. You never know where an
You never
opportunity
know.
will take you.
Yeah, so today things have changed and she's enjoying this phase. Obviously, the insecurity is there, even when the season 3 is happening.
Yes.
And, okay, whether, it'll live up to that expectation or not. So, you have so much to look forward to. Life is not too boring, what happens in your children are grown and everything. They are doing their own things. I'm busy with my work. So at this juncture, Maheep has got all these things are still there.
Yes.
But she has something of her own also.
Yes.
So that, makes you a better person. Your mind is ticking. You are doing your own things. It's a great high.
Yes.
And to make your own, there is nothing like making your own money, I feel.
For sure.
Spending your own money, the power of that,
Yep.
it's special.
It is.
It's absolutely special, I feel. As a husband, a person can have billions of rupees. But when you earn that 1 rupee of today, Shania's earnings in last 2 years, even though a film is not released and everything, she's spending everything of her own. And I can see that confidence in her when she's spending.
Yes.
Her body language has changed. She knows that she's spending her own money. She's not asking me, can I buy this or something?
Yes.
She's not asking, can I do this? It's a great feeling. So Maheep is going through this feeling at this, in her late 40s, she started feeling like that. It's a wow
Never
moment.
too late to start.
It's a wow moment.
You're obviously very positive, so I'm not even going to ask you, was it hard for you when Maheep came into the spotlight? Because I feel like your answer will be no, obviously. I already know the question now. But you are super positive. Is Maheep just as positive as you? In terms of...
Where her
you
her
don't
career
care.
is...
Yeah, because you don't care what other people say about you. But does she feel the same? Because as a
Maybe
woman,
she may not be so much like me.
Yes.
Obviously, again, we are surrounded by extremely successful people, like not successful, super successful. Like they are really, really, they are like running the show actually.
Yes.
Literally, yeah. But obviously, my whole thing rubs on to her and my confidence and my thing, obviously she knows. And the other person understands you a lot also. Like I remember when I was going through a phase when I produced a film. My first film was with Harman Baveja and Genelia D'Souza. And there was Nana Patekar also. So everybody knew that, Maheep is very friendly with Gauri, and
Yes.
because of that with Shah Rukh, and because of that, so everybody thinks it's a cakewalk. He said, but why is Sanjay making a movie with Harman? Why not with Shah Rukh Khan? So I said it doesn't work like that. When your friend, professionalism is one thing, and your friendliness is a different thing. When you try to mix, so when we were partying or when we were socializing or something, we were just enjoying that moment. It was not okay, you are calling them home and indirectly trying to
Get something out of
get
them.
something out of that. Yeah. And the other person respects you when you don't do that, and he's also comfortable. I'm just not talking about him.
Yeah,
I
of
just took
course.
his example. But of late, I was hearing a lot about nepotism.
Yes.
Okay, and Karan has been a friend of mine for more than 30 years. Yeah. I have not. I worked with him after Love Stories became a success. He never casted me. So people will cast you when you're good. Yes, the Shania today is coming up and everything. I will not take my name because we were living in Chembur and that time media was not there. I was a producer. This Anil was definitely had become a star or something, but things were today is more on your face.
It is.
So yes, Shania is more privileged than the other person, but it's not that she's going to sign a film because she's my daughter. She's waited for a while for a thing to start. If that was the case, it would have happened immediately. Today, I can give my example in the sense today, if Karan is launching her or she's doing the South film or something, she's the brand ambassador of Puma. She's doing something for so many brands right now. They have not taken her. They have seen the X factor in her. They are seeing the positivity about her. They're seeing the way she conduct. So because there are other children also who are somebody's
Yes.
known daughters or this. Why are they not doing all this if she's doing it? So you have to have it in you.
You do.
You are privileged in the sense that you get an opening in the sense that today somebody would like an unknown person's daughter or son would not be known to a producer, but she would be known or he would be known. But to cast, you have to be good.
For sure. It's true. I remember watching that Netflix show around Bollywood. I can't remember what it was called. And they were talking about Yash Raj films and how his son Adi then took over. But his brother, or was it Adi that was in movies? Who was the one that was in Mohabbat
Uday
then?
was in.
Yeah, Uday. So they said, look, he was the son of the most famous director in the whole of Bollywood. And they couldn't make him an actor. And that is, I'm only giving that example because they gave it in the.
Exactly. So,
in the thing-
like that, there are 100 examples like that.
Exactly. There's so many.
You can try, you can have everything. And
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. And whoever says it, my own brothers didn't cast me when I was going through the phase. When my brother took me, I was wanting to be signed. Indra Kumar had also signed me. N. Chandra had also signed me. And my brother also took me. But when I was going through a phase, obviously it's business.
Yes.
When my brother made no entry, he could have taken me instead of Fardeen Khan. But he didn't. So it doesn't work like that. There was Anil Salman, so he would have sold the picture on them. You could have taken me, the picture would have still done well. Things would have still happened the way it happened. No entry would have been a blockbuster. But he took Fardeen because at that time Fardeen was more sellable than me. So he took Fardeen Khan. He didn't take me. So I've not worked in my brother's production for the last 20 years. So when I was producing films, when I was going through this low, it was not that they don't love me, but it is business at the end of the day. So you are privileged in the sense in these things, little things that people know of you, but nobody is going to cast you. Finally, a Dibakar Banerjee took me, not a Karan Johar or a Boni Kapoor. Dibakar, who didn't know me, casted me. And finally, then it was my work. When Zoya Akhtar took me for Luck by Chance, or when I did Shandar at that time, and then all these Fame Game and happened. And finally, the first time I worked with Karan was in Fame Game.
Right.
And because by then I had done Lust Stories, I had done The Last Hour. Again, the strangest thing was The Last Hour. When the director came to me after Lust Stories, he came up to me. That was the first show where I did an audition. He said, I think you were too good in Lust Stories, but Asif Kapadia, who is a very famous, he's an Oscar winner for his documentary, I think it's Sienna. He's from UK. So
Right.
he was the co-producer of The Last Hour. He said, "Ki, we work like that you are good, but we like to audition."
Right.
And I didn't know who Amit was and everything. I just, he came and met me, I just knew that he's a very genuine guy and he just looks absolutely too talented and everything. I said, let's do it. So he told me later, a lot of people said, Ki, are you mad you're asking? He's worked for 30 years, 25 years that time.
Mm.
He said, no, but I'm not doubting his talent. I'm going to him because in India, the thing is, Ki, over here, today a superstar also is going to audition. Obviously, you're good. But whether you're good for this part, they want to see.
Yes.
That was the first time I did an audition. But I had so much belief, I said, okay, let's do it.
Mm.
What will happen? He'll see the audition and not like it and not cast me. And I felt so good when the audition happened and I did this show for Amazon called The Last Hour. And after the audition, I got the part. So it felt, when I was shooting for that, I felt I deserved this. He's not come to me because what I've done.
Yes.
I'm in front of this camera, I'm playing this role because he's auditioned and he thinks I can do this part.
Mm.
So you can, so coming back to this whole nepotism and everything,
Yeah.
it's your talent. Like you gave that example, there are
Yes.
thousands of examples like that.
Yes.
It doesn't work. You can be privileged, but when you're in front of the camera, आप किसी के भी बेटे हो, किसी के भी भाई हो, आपके खुद भाई ने नहीं लिया आपको, तो दूसरे क्यों लेंगे? आप sellable होंगे, आप today luckily for OTT you have to be talented. So if you're not talented, nobody's going to touch you. There are casting directors who decide and who tell the directors, okay, this person can do that role. Doesn't matter whose son, brother you are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter.
What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with business and family? So you've just said, when you're talking about your brother, they didn't cast me. Doesn't mean they don't love me.
So when I say they didn't cast me, I'm not saying it with bitterness.
Yes.
What I'm trying to say is that when I'm giving that example of nepotism, why didn't they, if it was only when they only pushed their children or they pushed their brothers or something,
Yes.
it's a business.
Correct.
You will be casted. It's a business. You have to make the film succeed or the show succeed. And at that time, maybe it was just not the celebrity point of view. Maybe they needed a younger person. So, say hypothetically, if they casted Fardeen, the role required a more younger guy also. So it doesn't. When I say they didn't cast me, is not with why didn't they cast me? It is not
Yes.
because of that. It is that just because you are somebody's brother or something, it doesn't work.
It
like
doesn't
that.
work. Yeah, my question is more, how do you, if you're struggling in business because you believe that someone should support you because they love you. I'll give you an example. People always say at the moment, oh, random people support me online, but my own best friends and the people who are around me aren't supporting me.
But I feel, I'm not talking about my family, but
Yes.
mostly what happens is, I don't know about the online, but films is a very different thing. It's not a post, or it is not social. It's not like a social media
Yes.
kind of a thing. It doesn't. I used to also feel when events were happening. I used to
Right.
feel at that time कि event में तुम इसको ले जाओ उसको ले जाओ इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It's not a film, But sometimes I feel the people who are close to you, they don't push you. They don't. How do I put rightly? They don't really like to. I would not say see you successful, but somewhere they don't. बोलते ना जो your close cousins and everything are ऊपर से कुछ भी बता दे अंदर से they are the most unhappy when things are going right for you.
Yes.
So it doesn't, today when I go for events and everything, when I really needed that extra buck or something, and that time, few times I felt because it's not a question of movie or something. Today, I knew audience knew me, so I could go for that event. I could make that extra buck. But sometimes people are, I would not say jealous, but they don't want to help you out. It's I don't know how to put it.
I know
but
what
they don't
you're
want
saying. It's more, I think I look at it as people want you to succeed as long as you don't succeed more than them.
Not exactly, the person who's doing the event, I'm already more successful than him. That's why he's doing the event, not in front of the show. I wouldn't say that. But still, they would give that extra money to another person
Right.
than to you. Again, I would not take names, but it has
Yes.
happened with me also.
Yes.
I always felt it. I took it with a pinch of salt. I said, this is life. Yeah. Move ahead.
Okay, I love this attitude. I have to say, I love this pinch yourself attitude. Nothing's going to affect me, but there must
No, no,
be
it does affect you, but you cannot keep on sulking about it.
right.
I'm not saying it doesn't affect you.
Yeah, because
Okay,
it
you
must
know
be hard.
you have gone through a party where a person has, you know, that kid has seen you and gone this side, and then when he's confronted, or when are I was very high. I said, you're not high to meet XYZ, but you're high to not
Look at
say hello
me.
to me. So you go through that kind of a thing. But they are small people. You know, they will never, they may achieve success for a little while. And then finally, they are bitter. After the success also, they are feeling they're not content, and they're suffering more than you. People who behave like that are like that.
Mm,
They don't have that confidence, because you have to respect the person. You have to, if he's your friend, he's your friend.
mm,
Is he your friend according to the success? That means he's not your friend. You are friendly with him because of his success rate and bank balance.
yeah.
So that means you have chosen a wrong friend. But in a party or in a social gathering or something, it's not necessarily they're only your friend. There could be people who are acquainted to, but you can feel these people who are, I feel these people are very small.
Yes.
I see through them, and then I see that they got success for 4 5 years, and then they're nowhere. And the people who are actually very successful are very giving.
Yes, I agree. You said you see through a lot of this. Do you think you're quite intuitive?
It's not a question of intuitive. I've been born. I'm an intelligent person. I am not 21. I've seen life. I've seen the ups and downs. I've
Yeah.
seen it in my family. I've seen it outside. I've heard stories with the greatest. I've sat because I was so close to Chimpu, who was Raj Kapoor's son. Raj uncle used to always say, when things were written, Chimpu had become an actor, and people were, sometime when I started also, gossip was happening. People were trolling. That time the word trolling was not there because the media was not there. But he said, you should never worry when people talk bad about you. You should worry when people stop talking about you. If you're important, you'll be trolled. So the minute they don't discuss you, that's the time to get worried.
Wow.
So that is in me. I have told my children also, if you are trolled or something, that means you are affecting people. You are in news. Good news, bad news. You have to be in news. If people stop talking about you, that means people are not interested in you.
Mm, so true. So powerful. I mean, have you always been this spiritual?
No, it's not the question of spiritual. That life teaches you like that, and when you hear few things, if you have that grasping thing, you like I heard when my father said that when there are 100 people, you should never see only people who are 3 people ahead, and you should always think. Then recently, I was seeing somewhere in social media, I don't remember exactly who it was, where he spoke about, he's one of the greatest people who talks about everything, and he spoke and great things, and one, he made a mistake, and it was like, for example, he said 3 into 6 instead of 18, he said 3 into 6 is 15. So the student said, okay, sir, you said all these, that's wrong. It's 3 into 6 is 18. He said, that's what life is. You do all the good things, you do one wrong thing, and people remember you with that wrong thing. That's life.
Wow.
These things, you don't have to be spiritual or something. With time, with age, with experience, with just noticing people, just hearing people, like Mr. Raj uncle, when he said this, if you're not in news, that's the time
Yes.
you stay. I was a kid, but probably this was said about 40 years back, but I still remember it.
Yeah. I think often we do remember those moments where it completely reframes our perspective.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Honestly, I've as an advice, I've not received any advice. Like I said, when my father said that thing and everything, I have grasped these things and I made them into my advice. It was not said. Sometimes it is best not to advise when you talk about it and everything. That's why your parents said कि संगत का असर बहुत जरूरी है. To be in good company, because good people, good company, intelligent people talk intelligently.
Yeah.
Talk about things. If you are in wrong company, you'll hear wrong things and you'll do wrong things. If you're in the right company, बोलते हैं संगत का असर. Your dad is here, he'll agree to it. संगत का
true.
असर जो बोलते हैं. So you have to be around right people. And when you're around right people, it's not necessarily anybody's giving you an advice. You could be just hearing things, and maybe they're talking to somebody else, and you're just sitting, and the conversation is between the other two people, but you are sitting in that room. So you hear the right things being spoken about, and you have to decide what is the right thing that you take out from that person and what is something which can be avoided.
It's so true. And I do think that when you're with someone and you walk away, how you feel is such a good indicator of that person.
Yeah.
If you walk away and you feel uplifted,
Yes.
then you know you've had a good, fruitful conversation. But if you've been gossiping or you've been talking about rubbish and you walk away, you'll feel drained.
Yeah, even see, I wouldn't say that everything has to be when you're in a room. It has to be
amazingly positive.
Amazingly
Yes.
positive.
But I mean
You
the energy.
Yeah, energy.
Yes.
Like you could be in a room where you're talking rubbish.
Yeah, but the energy is good
Energy, yeah, but
when you
it's
leave.
done in a positive way.
Yes.
That's also life. You have to enjoy your life. Everything doesn't have to be about advice and about ye karna chahiye. You just,
It's true.
Yeah, anything. But in that 100 sentences, there's one thing will come up.
Yes.
And that's what you have to say. So I have my own humor. I joke around and everything. But in my conversation, something I will say, maybe the other person will grasp it.
Yeah.
People, like when you say about advice, people ask me, okay, what advice have you given Shania?
Yes.
I say, Shania is born in my house. She has seen her own father's ups and downs. She is in this family. She is surrounded by these people. We've all gone through our shares of success and failure, and especially her own father. So I said, she's seen it too closely. She will not take anything for granted. She's intelligent enough to know. I don't have to, I'm there for her.
Yeah.
And today's kids are very smart. They want to do their own things, and they have to do their own things. They have to make their own mistakes. I cannot be holding a finger for everything.
No.
She has to make her own mistakes, and I'm always there when she needs me. I'm there for advice, but I'm not there telling her this is right, this is right, this is wrong, this is wrong. She has to do it herself. That's how I learned. That's how she'll learn. That's how she will grow as a person. You cannot you cannot be roaming around.
So true. Well, this conversation has been so inspiring, more than I anticipated, actually. I feel like I've just got this life lessons from you. So thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this, and I'm very grateful for your time.
Not at all. It's been a pleasure. I've also spoken non-stop. I'm also tired. I need some water, but it was great fun.
You're like, this is the most I've ever talked, more than any movie I've ever done.
I think so. I've spoken a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.